Hey everyone, welcome to Toki ni Andy. Today I'm interviewing Maxie from the channel German in Tokyo, although she actually lives in Osaka right now. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Maxie, and I run a Japanese-speaking YouTube channel where I talk mainly about German culture, and I teach Japanese German. And also, I do like a lot of interviews with Japanese who are like living overseas.
Mm. How long have you been doing that YouTube channel for now?
2 years.
2 years, wow, okay.
Yes.
When you started out, like your first videos and stuff, was your goal to teach about Germany and German, or did you have like a different goal when you started out?
When I was in graduate school, I was always teaching German on the side to Japanese, and I really enjoyed doing that. But at that time, I finished school and I was working full-time for a Japanese company.
Oh, really?
And there was like nothing related to German or to Germany. So I was like a little, I would say homesick. I missed like, and I thought maybe if I do a YouTube channel about teaching German in Japan, then maybe I can find like some German clients to work, like to get some like teaching on the weekends.
Right.
And yeah, I just like started doing it while working full time, which was a lot of work.
I imagine. It is so much work, everyone. Making YouTube videos, it's pretty much a full-time job if you do it seriously.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like the first, I guess like more than the first 100 videos, I was just like recording my camera and I was not editing at all.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, it works. I mean, people, especially when it's something like unique. Like, I don't think there's many channels teaching German in Japanese. I mean, I've never looked for it, but I imagine it's pretty unique concept for YouTube in Japan. So.
Yeah, I think like I was checking, and there are some Germans who are doing like walk style, like enjoying Japan and traveling in Japan.
Right.
But like I enjoy to travel, but I'm not like traveling every day, so it's like a little bit weak concept for me to do.
Right.
And there are some Japanese who are like doing exchange to Germany, and they have like, vlog channel about German culture, but no one was actually like doing something about teaching German. So I thought, okay, I start, because there are a bunch of like learning English channels.
Right.
No one's doing German, so I thought, okay, maybe I try doing that.
Nice. I think it's a good idea.
So I started.
Nice. So you mentioned that you were working for a Japanese company and you were teaching German to Japanese people while you were in university. What did you study in university?
I went to Waseda University.
Okay.
First as exchange, because I'm from Bonn University and they had kind of like an exchange program for 1 year.
Okay.
And I wanted to work as interpreter, and in Germany, like the market for Japanese interpretation is really small. So I thought it would be better to do my graduate school in Japan. And I started teaching German, but then like once my clients realized that I could also like speak Japanese and write Japanese, they started asking me for like German translation or interpretation. And then I was doing like a bunch of freelance things for my studies. But in order to change for a work visa, I was working full-time for a renewable energy company.
Okay. Wow. Cool. All right. Is that what you still do? Like, do you do mostly interpreting then for your day-to-day job nowadays as well?
No, I came to a point where my YouTube channel was growing, and I was starting to get some clients on YouTube where I made the decision, okay, I want to try doing this full-time. It maybe takes a while, but yeah, so since last year, I'm just like focusing on my channel and also my teaching, and I started making some events for Japanese friends in Germany. Some
That's
classes,
awesome.
online classes, and yeah.
That's awesome. So you're basically a full-time YouTuber, sort of, right?
Yeah, well, like I would say I'm a wannabe.
Yeah, it's great. For the people who are studying German with you, like the clients that you're getting and stuff who want to learn German, what are generally the goals of? What are their goals generally? Do they want to work and live in Germany, or do they work in a company that is like connected with
It depends. If you have like students in their 20s, usually they want to go to exchange, or some of them also want to work in Germany. But most of my private students, I had a company employee, and he wanted to do business with Germany, so he wanted to learn some German skills. Then German is used for medical terms in Japan. Yeah, so I had a doctor as client. That was still at the day where I was like going to people's houses and teaching.
Right.
But and he was like really interested in the German like political system and like legal system.
Okay.
And then what is like there are a lot of Japanese who are interested in German classic music.
Oh wow, okay.
And
cool.
If you want to play violin, then there are like some good music schools in Germany. So that's kind of like a motivation to start learning German.
All right. What do you find is the most difficult part of that one-on-one tutoring because all of your students obviously will have different goals, very different goals, and different things they'll want to learn. What do you find is the most challenging part of that?
I would say, like I said, it's like really important to find something you like and to keep going.
Yeah.
So, and also like at first I was using Japanese textbooks to learn German, but I felt like it's more made for like learning German grammar.
Right.
But these books are easier. But if you use like a completely German book, it's like better. So I would say like keeping my students motivated. Is like my main challenge, but they're quite happy, and I don't want to like turn them off with German grammar. So
right.
Like German grammar on like a
German grammar is hard. I tried to learn a little bit of German, but the words just my pronunciation for starters is terrible when German. The words just get so long, and I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I would love to speak it someday, but it's a tough one. Okay, so were you interested in Japan like from childhood, or is it like a more recent interest? What brought you here? Pretty much an interest.
I was in middle school, and at that time I had like a horrible English teacher.
Okay.
And I was like, well, maybe if I study, I will be able to speak English. But a lot of people go to the States, and I was like, no, I want to learn something else. So I went to Japan when I was in high school, wearing like the whole school uniform. I was like, I was really into like the whole kawaii culture. I was like, and I came to school completely surrounded just by Japanese, and I was the only blonde one. And it's the school system is really difficult, like different compared to Germany, because it's like more strict and straightforward.
Yeah.
But what I really liked about Japan was kind of like the group culture and also the activities which you had like after school. And then after 1 year, I was able to speak Japanese like a high school student.
Right.
Kind of like not what you should use, but when I moved back to Germany, I was like suddenly surrounded in high school just by Germans, and I kind of really missed the like learning Japanese part. Yeah. And then I just like keep like studying Japanese because I wanted to like read it, and then I started like really, really early, I would say.
Okay, that's it. That's awesome. So you basically started like real immersion really, really early. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So with high schools and with school in general in Japan, you mentioned how it's very different from not just Germany, but it's also very different from like the American school culture. For people who are watching and who don't know, in Japan, basically, you go to school, generally from the morning, maybe 8 o'clock until 3 o'clock or something. But then, like in America, at 3 o'clock, you're finished. Maybe if you're on a team or something, maybe you might have football practice or something after school. But generally, you're done for the day. Up to high school, in university, even you've just you're done. In Japan, it's pretty much a requirement. I feel like, or there's a lot of social pressure, at least, to be in a club.
Yeah.
An after school club. So most high schoolers don't actually get to go home until something more like 6 or 7. Now some people might find that sort of, I don't know, might not like that. But then like Maxie said, like you said, it can actually, be a nice thing because you sort of get that group identity going, and you feel closer to the people you're around every day. So you really like that then?
Yeah, I mean, I was in high school, and suddenly I was home at like 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Because like my school, it was like 1 hour by bicycle every day. So
Wow.
and for high school, that was like really, I remember being so tired that I was thinking, okay, I can either take a bus or can eat like dinner or can just sleep.
Oh,
but
no.
I mean, like in my case, I was like in an art circle, and the whole class, I couldn't understand Japanese. So I was just like sitting there, sleeping there.
Right.
But like after school, the activities, that's where I could actually do something, because painting, I can paint without like learning.
Right.
And when I compared to Germany, it's like I was spending a lot of time in front of my computer, and of course sometimes you go out and meet with friends. But in Germany, there's a whole like drinking culture, starting at 16 to drink.
Really?
It's legal to drink beer starting at 16, which is pretty early. So I would say like. I really like to have the structure, and you're actually like learning a skill which you're interested in.
Right.
So I really enjoyed like being the part of a team. And so it seems so stressful, but I think like if you're really Japanese and you want to enter like a good school, then it's stressful, because on top of that, coming home at like 8, you still have to study in order to go to university. But in my case, I was just there for 1 year, so.
Yeah, you could just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I remember when I used to work in an eikaiwa conversation school, I used to have high school students that would come in after club. So they would come to my class after club around 8 p.m. and they'd study English for an hour until 9. Yeah. And it was so hard to keep them awake. Because,
yes.
They were getting like 3 to 4 hours of sleep because I mean, if they're in an eikaiwa at that time of day, you know that they're very driven to get into a good university or whatever. So that means that they're not sleeping, pretty much not sleeping. So they're in school all day, and they have club, and they come and study English after school and stuff like that. So I feel like for Japanese students, it can be a very stressful thing. But for people like us who come from I don't know about Germany, but I know in America, we're very, very individualistic.
Yeah.
So we lack that sort of group
pressure.
The group pressure, but also we lack that community in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things that I found I love about Japan is that sense of community that still sort of exists even as adults, like community centers and stuff like that, festivals. There's that sense of community that I never had back in America, and I don't know.
And it's really interesting for me because in Germany, like a lot of people, they move out and go to like a new city when they enter college. So like all my friends from high school, they're like now living across Germany in like different cities and different parts. But if I'm in Japan, I still have I have my high school community. Then I have my being in exchange in Japan community. And like these are still these intact communities. And still we have like a line group, and sometimes we meet up. So I feel like I have a lot of more long-term friends in Japan compared to Germany, just because the community is much closer.
I agree. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, in Japan, it's very common for people, friends from high school to be friends forever from, bukatsu or whatever, which is definitely nice. I mean, it's great to be able to have friends that you can count on for life. From high school, like to know that I'm going to be friends with. I have maybe I'm Facebook friends with people from high school, but actual friends from my high school time, maybe one person in the United States, 2 people. But that wouldn't happen in Japan. It would last a lot longer, which is nice. It's interesting. Okay. What that whole first year when you were in Japan, so you first came here, you didn't speak any Japanese when you arrived to start high school here?
I started learning Japanese when I was 14. Okay. But I would say like the level of Japanese I was when I first came to Japan, I was like able to read hiragana.
Right. Okay.
And I still had trouble reading katakana. And when someone asked me "Daijoubu," I couldn't like get it. What
okay.
So yeah, but I feel like there's like a certain level. I think it took me 6 months to be able to speak with my friends in high school.
Yeah.
But people I don't know well.
Yeah.
So people at stores, or using polite Japanese. I couldn't understand it because it was not used in school.
Right. It's interesting when that's a very good point that I want to just mention is no matter how good you get speaking with the people you always speak to, when you move to a new group of people, especially age groups, and I think this is true in any language, you're not going to understand anything they say.
Yeah. And like, in Japan also, like, there's a huge difference between like female Japanese and male Japanese. And the thing about Japanese high schools is it's like really interesting. But in Germany, I think we have it in middle school a bit, but in Germany it's like really the guys are on this side, the girls are on this side, and they're all giggling.
Right.
So because I was like more like hanging out with girls, it was really difficult for me to understand like male Japanese.
Right. Yeah, I had the opposite problem, I guess, because most kindergarten teachers all kindergarten teachers for the most part in Japan are women. So I worked in an immersion class, so like my kids, it was English all day with the kids, but with my coworkers, none of them spoke English, so it was Japanese all day. But that means I was speaking with girls, pretty much younger women, so like 20 to 25-year-old girls every day at work. But yes, but that's like when I started there, my Japanese was okay, but it wasn't great. So that means that over the 4 years I worked there, my Japanese got much better. But that also means that my Japanese became very, very feminine, which you wouldn't pick that if you were working with only men, or if I was working with only women in the United States. I don't think you would notice in my spoken language the difference. I think it would probably be quite similar, but in Japan there is a very big difference in how people speak, which is interesting. And there's also a big difference between the way children, I guess this is true in any language, but the way children speak and the way adults speak, because I still use a lot of Japanese that makes me sound like a 5-year-old. Like "so nano" and stuff like that. Like I get made fun of for that every once in a while. But yeah, so my point was like I learned Japanese from younger girls mostly, because that's who I was working with. So when I go to my community center, it's 50 to 60-year-old men. So the first year in that community center, I had no idea what anyone was saying, but slowly over time I began to understand more and more. So yeah, every time you switch groups, it's like learning a whole new language. It's pretty neat. Okay, so what did you find, was that what you would say was one of the most challenging things for you when you were learning, like listening to other groups of people? Or
I would say I never had a problem with speaking, because I listen and then I just use it. And I was in Japan and I was only surrounded by Japanese. And I'm kind of like an extrovert person, so even if I like make mistake, I just speak. But the issue which I had was I was learning Japanese just by listening and speaking. So, and there's a clear difference between spoken language and written language. So when I moved back to Germany, and I was using Mina no Nihongo or Genki, and I learned like how to like read Japanese and how to write Japanese. I had a lot of issues with learning grammar because it's so different, and I was used to not like leaving stuff out, but just because you can do it in spoken.
Right.
Me, like learning grammar afterwards was more difficult, I would say.
Okay.
But I think like it's opposite for people when they learn grammar and reading first, then they sound kind of strange when they speak. So
very much so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like something completely different which you have to learn, like listening, speaking, and then like reading, writing. And you have to practice like all 4 parts, I would say.
It's a very good point. Very, like, it's so different. The spoken Japanese and written Japanese is just, it's so different. And you can tell when someone's repeating basically a textbook. And when they're actually speaking normally, because you drop so much in Japanese.
Yeah, you do.
Drop in particles, subjects, topics, like it's just everything. You can just say single verbs alone and you're fine.
Yeah, you can just like say nothing and still the other person is trying to get what you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Tabeta. Yeah. Like if I was just to say ate in Japanese. Did you eat breakfast today? Ate. Like you can't get that from written, but it's fun though at the same time. It's one thing I enjoy about Japanese. You asked me a question earlier on our interview. By the way, anyone watching this, Maxie interviewed me in Japanese over on her channel. So if you get a chance, go on over there and give that a watch. And she's also got lots of German lessons in Japanese. So if you want to learn German through using Japanese, or if you're a Japanese person watching my channel right now who is interested in learning German, or watching videos about a German in Japan, please go ahead and check out her channel. There will be a link down in the description and in the end screen. So I had one more question. One question you asked me earlier in our interview was when I first moved here, if I had any difficulties like with food or just in day-to-day life. What about you? What did you find? Was there anything that you found difficult when you first moved here?
The first time I was living in Japan, I was living with a host family, so that was not so much difficult.
Yeah.
But I would say I got the problems when I started living by myself. And then like you get all the bills and you need to figure out how to pay the bills, and then you get like some tax documents and you don't know how to, or you have to open like a bank account.
Right.
And what I feel difficult is researching in Japanese like important stuff.
Right.
And so now I'm on a level, I passed the Japanese N1.
Wow.
So if I want to like research something or do something, I can just like research in Japanese, and usually I get the information which I needed.
Well, that's good.
But in the beginning I was like I would say grandma, because I was always going to the store. Because I was just
so much
better
easier
at like, asking and listening than like using like all the online application forms or like booking online a doctor appointment. It's now possible, but I don't like to do it.
It doesn't help that I'm sorry, Japanese web design is it's bad. It's not good. But my friend is actually a developer here in Japan. He's an American who works as a web designer in Japan. And he has a lot of struggles because web design companies here are stuck in the past, as many things are in Japan. So they don't want to sort of, they don't care about usability of their websites. So it makes it very, very difficult, even if you speak perfect Japanese, to find what you're looking for. A lot of times. So I personally, just like you said, I'll just go to the place and ask before I want to look it up online a lot of times. But that's a struggle. I can't imagine what I would have had to do if I had to open a bank account on my own when I first came here. Or
make a
like
Hanko.
Yeah, you got to do that. First of all, what's a Hanko? It's like when I first came to Japan, I had to get a Hanko. So my manager at my company, she took me to a 100 yen shop, a 100 yen store. And she's like, just pick out whichever one you think looks cool. And I picked out just a random Hanko. And nobody could read it. Nobody. I showed it to people. And they're like, I have no idea what that name is, but congratulations. And that was my bank Hanko. By the way, anyone watching?
I mean, like, actually, I use Postbank, and there's a format which you can use for changing from Hanko to sign. So, like, they're starting to get, like, more European in some ways. So, like, if you make the sign, then a lot of Japanese ask me, is it safe? But, I mean, like, obviously, like, your sign is also, it's kind of unique.
It's pretty unique. I think it's like safer.
It's starting to also be able to sign, and then like you don't have to like in case you forget your Hanko, it's just easier.
Right. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, that can be difficult. Okay. you asked me also, and I think this is a good question, if there's any foods from home or anything that you miss a lot. Like, is there anything in particular that you miss from home a lot that, like, when you go home, you definitely do?
I would say like it's cheese, really good quality cheese.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where it's actually like once I made my own cheese in Japan.
Really? Wow.
I was looking for a farm and then ordered milk from a farm. And
oh my goodness.
From an American self-made milk company, I like ordered all the stuff which you need to make, and I made it one time, but
how was it?
High quality, yeah, that was good. But it took me like 2 months.
Wow.
And then I ate it in like 1 day, so it's
yeah.
I cannot recommend, but it's it was clearly, and also I feel actually the stuff I miss in Japan compared to the stuff I miss when I'm back in Germany, because in my case I was moving from Japan to Germany, from Germany to Japan,
right,
like back and forth.
Yeah.
So always when I was living in Germany, I had like a more difficult time adjusting to German food.
Yeah.
And I had to like in Japan, because
same.
Yeah, because I feel like in Japan you have really good high quality restaurants.
Yes.
You can eat French, Italian, not so much German, I agree, but you can eat Chinese and Korean and Japanese. Yep. And there's like it's like really healthy, and also the portions are smaller and it's cheaper compared to Germany.
Right. Okay, so, compared to Germany.
Like, for me being in Germany after just 1 week, I'm just like, okay, I need it.
It's the same thing that happens to me in America. I feel sick every day while I'm in America visiting for a short amount of time.
It's like really a lot of meat, and also I feel like when I'm back in Germany, I gain a lot of weight.
Every time, America. I'll gain 10, 15 pounds in a couple of weeks in America. Get back to Japan and lose it immediately. And I don't try. It's just the food here is better. I miss it more. I missed even the less healthy stuff here. Like I missed ramen, sushi so much when I was back home. But yeah. Okay, great. Well, everyone, this has been Maxie. Check out her channel, German in Tokyo. Say hi to Max, her dog, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit the like button on this and subscribe if you haven't, and do the same on her video.
Yes, please. If you like want to watch some videos in Japanese, I also like, even if you're not interested in Germany, I have like a bunch of video of me just drinking German beer.
Oh, that's awesome.
In Japanese. So.
I'm gonna go watch one of those right now, so you should too.
Yeah, okay, so have a nice day. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.